Hey everyone, welcome back to Whiskey Quest. My name's Antonio Perez, and tonight we're gonna be drinking Ardbeg Single Malt Scotch Whisky. This is a whiskey that comes from the region of Scotland called Islay, and it's a 10-year-old whiskey matured in ex-bourbon barrels. This typically goes for around $50 to $55, but I found this on sale for $39.99. I saw the price. I said, no way, I am not passing this up. You know, for that's, I mean, you're never gonna find it for something that cheap. And if you do, you're in luck. This is 46% ABV and it's non-chill filtered. The color on this, it's very pale. This is like a pale straw. Considering that it's 10 years old, you know, it's ex-bourbon barrel, so that means all of that color has already been soaked up in a bourbon somewhere. And the other thing, they use a green bottle. Now, when they use a green bottle, typically you're gonna get something very light or maybe not a consistent color from bottle to bottle, and that's because they add no coloring to it. So, to me, that's a pretty good standard right there. That means that they kept it natural, just like I like it. So let's move on to the nose, the taste, and the finish. On the nose, right away you get that strong peated whiskey, which is this is known for. To me, this smells like a smoky barbecue sauce. I get a little bit of orange. There's some lemon zest. And I get like a sweet pear right in the back. I mean, that smokiness is really up front, so you really have to get past that in order to notice the other scents that are in there. It's a little bit of like a vanilla. And very far in the back. Let's move on to the taste. Oh yeah, on the front, you get that smoke, you get spiciness with a little bit of a bite. I mean, it's 46%, which is awesome. Let me get another taste here, hold on. Yeah, after that spiciness, you get a little bit of a bitter, dark chocolate mixed in with all that burnt flavor. Like a burnt, really burnt popcorn, very ashy. And the finish is really long on this. I mean, it just stays there for a very long time. That ashiness, that burnt flavor. And get a little bit of a sweetness in the very back. But that ashiness is there nonetheless. That's really strong peated whiskey here. But it's in a good way. I mean, the other one that I've tried, by the way, this is my second peated whiskey. The first one was the Johnny Walker Double Black. If you guys haven't checked out the review, go ahead. I'll put the link up there. But that compared to this, that was nothing. That was just a baby step. Because this is really up there, and it's not in a bad way. So you just have to, you know, be ready for that smokiness that's gonna come at you. Let's add a little bit of water. Added 3 small drops, and we'll let that sit for a little bit. And in the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit more about this stuff. So, like I said, this comes from the region of Scotland called Islay, and they're known for having the really peated scotches, which is, you know, you get all that burnt smoky flavors. So what is peat? Peat is earth. It's been compressed for like thousands of years. You got soil, roots, moss, you got grasses, all just compressed, like I said. And technically it's rotting vegetation. And they dig this out and they just let it out and let it dry out for a bit. And what they do is when they start malting the barley, they got to stop it somehow from continuing to malt. So they put the peat right underneath and then they light it on fire, and that's how they get their smoky flavor in there, just by doing that process. Back in the day, that's the one thing that they had that they could burn, and it would last for a very long time. So they found out that it gave it this very distinct flavor, and they just kept it. It's a tradition kind of thing. They could have used any other kind of fuel now, but they kept it with the peat just to keep it traditional. And that's what I like about this stuff. It's like the traditions that follow from generation to generation on these whiskeys. Another thing about peat, it's measured in ppm, which stands for phenol parts per million. And Ardbeg is one of the peatiest out there, which is at 55 ppm. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the chill filtration. What is the chill filtration? Well, that's when they chill the whiskey and then they filter it. They do this to remove sediments or some impurities that the whiskey may have. And they only do that for whiskeys like this one that's 46% and below, because anything higher than that, the higher alcohol volume just takes care of the whole cloudiness that happens when you either chill it or you add some water like I just did. And you can see, I don't think you can see it on the camera, but it does look a little cloudy right after I added the water. And there's like little things floating in there. That's just because it wasn't filtered. This is just how the distiller intended this whiskey to be, so it's perfectly natural. Don't worry about it. So with some water, let's see what we get on the nose. Alright, with water I still get all that peatiness. Get hints of honey now. And I get damp, like a very damp earthy kind of note there. That actually reminds me of when we were kids and we would visit my grandparents in Mexico over the summer. And my grandmother, may she rest in peace, on my mother's side, she had a huge patio in the middle of her house, but it was nothing but dirt and a whole bunch of pots and flowers everywhere. So whenever she had to sweep around, she would sprinkle water everywhere. That way, you won't kick up that much dust when you're sweeping. And that's what I smell in here. That actually reminded me of that, something that I had forgotten about from when I was a kid. And it just reminded me of that. It's a very, very pleasant memory that I have of my grandmother. I still get a little bit of the orange, more like an orange peel now. Alright, with water, there's still a spiciness there, but it's not as strong as it was before. It's more of a bitter kind of black coffee that I get now. Still some dark chocolate, but right in the back. And it's still a very long finish. Very oily and buttery. There's a hint of mint, or maybe like menthol right in the back. And that smoky, ashy taste there. I mean, just by breathing out you just think of like, you know, a fire that's, you know, maybe being put out, you know. It's a very good taste, at least to me it is. So my final thoughts on this whiskey is it's definitely worth the money. You know, like I said, I got lucky and I found it for $39.99. But this is something that I really wanted to try. So even if I had not found that, found this at that price, I would have still bought it, you know, for the $55. It's definitely worth it. So if you haven't tried it and you really want to try it, and you have the $50 to spend, I'd say go ahead and pick up a bottle. If you're scared that maybe you're not gonna like the peatiness, just go to a bar, order yourself a dram, and make your decision right there. But I'm really happy I picked this up. This is, I'm gonna put it in my top 3 favorite whiskey so far. So a quick question for you guys. Is there a whiskey that you've tried that reminds you or brings back a certain memory? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed, you know, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you think somebody else might enjoy this video, share this video with them. And like always, cheers. See you in the next video. Bye.